Hello everybody and welcome back to Gaga's Kitchen. So it has been literally 5 months since I've filmed one of these episodes, and as you can see I've had my hands a little full, but it definitely feels good to be back in the kitchen. I've been putting this off for a little bit, so I'm just so happy to be back. I'm happy that you guys are here for watching, and this is going to be a much more regular occurrence in the near future. So today we'll be making a special treat. We're going to be making an orange olive oil pound cake. So let's go. So as you guys know, in Gaga's Kitchen, we love to have a fun apron. So this one actually contains some profanity, but you can thank my father for getting me this one. But we're gonna put this on, and then we gotta tie the hair back for safety protocols, and then we're gonna get started. So my mom actually sent me this recipe a couple days ago, and I was like, oh my god, this is so perfect, because today I was supposed to be having a little joint birthday party with a couple of my coworkers, because we all have birthdays this week. So we were gonna do like a tea party in Central Park, which ended up getting canceled, which honestly, it's okay, because it's 6:00 p.m. and I'm just now starting to make the cake, and the party was supposed to start at 6:00, so we would have made it happen, but the party got canceled because it's been raining on and off all day, and it's like absolutely disgusting outside. It's like muggy, buggy, the air is thick, it's wet. It wasn't going to be a good environment. Oh, and it was going to be 17th century themed tea party. So getting all dressed up in our costumes and everything, it just wasn't the vibe for today. But I figured I still really want to make this cake, and then that way I can get some practice in for the future whenever this tea party gets rescheduled. So for this recipe, you're going to need some Greek yogurt. We've got 2 oranges, which we're going to be using the zest and the juice from. I've got some heavy whipping cream, which is going to be used for the whipped cream that we're going to be making to go with the pound cake. We've got some organic vanilla extract. We've got baking soda from the good old Trader Joe's. We've also got baking powder. It wouldn't be an olive oil cake without the extra virgin Mediterranean olive oil that I just picked up today. We've got, the recipe calls for like sugar, granulated sugar, but I had some of this cane sugar and then also raw turbinado cane sugar left over, so I figured I could just make do with what I had instead of like buying a whole new sugar. Then it calls for 2 whole eggs, which I have like these already like whole eggs cracked, so I just figured I would use those. And then we've got some all-purpose baking flour. You guys know I usually end up using gluten-free, and this is what I already had. We've got a little sea salt, or really this is like table salt. And last but not least, we've got some powdered confectioner's sugar for the whipped cream that we're going to be making.
Is someone getting upset because she's not the center of attention? What? You want to be the center of attention? You always want to be the center of attention? You are just so cute. You guys are just so cute. But we got an olive oil cake to bake. We got an olive oil cake to bake, and we got to get serious. Okay, so the first step is to preheat the oven to 350 degrees, and then we're going to come over and grease our pan with olive oil. So I was trying to figure out how I was going to grease this pan
without getting my hands all dirty. And then I remembered that I have this little thing that I like never get to use. So I'm just gonna come over. I'm gonna just like dump a bunch of I mean, this is an olive oil cake, so I'm gonna put a pretty generous amount. And then I'm gonna kind of just like brush it all over the bottom and all over the sides of the pan. Now, typically you would want to use one of those, like, you know, those loaf looking pans that's like half of this, but I don't have one. And you know, in Gaga's kitchen, we're all about kind of just like using what we have. I guess I could have made it in muffin form too, but this is what we're going with today. So again, don't be discouraged if you don't have everything that you need for a recipe at home, because 9 times out of 10 you can kind of improvise and make it work. All right, this is pretty much greased. Okay, and now the recipe also did say to put parchment paper over on top as well. I'm not sure if it wanted to do, it said to oil it and then put the parchment paper, which is kind of confusing to me, but I'm just gonna follow the directions here. But basically, we're gonna use this paper to lift the cake out of the pan once it's ready. So you do want it to be like sticking up on the edges, out of the edges, so that later we can go and just pull out the cake. Okay, so this is what we're working with right now. I might try to make it a little bit, I'm sure once we pour the batter in, it will like flatten down more. It's looking pretty good. And this is a 45 square foot roll of parchment paper. That's like almost as big as an apartment in New York City. Okay, so now in a large bowl, which I would say this is a pretty, oh, what's that? Pretty large bowl, we're going to add the flour, baking powder, baking soda, and salt, and then mix to combine. So we're going to do 2 cups of all-purpose flour. So this is a half a cup, so we're gonna do 4 of these. Okay, so I totally thought I was recording, and I wasn't. What I did is I did 1.5 teaspoons of the baking powder, and then just half a teaspoon of the baking soda. So just make sure you're not getting the powder and the soda mixed up. And next we're gonna add salt. Okay, and then we're gonna do 1 teaspoon of salt. So that's 2 of these little half teaspoons. So 1 and 2. Okay, and now I'm just taking a whisk and I'm gonna whisk it all together. Okay, so I'm just gonna take this bowl and I'm gonna set it aside over here. And now I'm gonna come over and we're gonna mix the eggs and the sugar together in a separate bowl. Okay, now, so for the sugar, we're doing 3/4 cups of sugar plus an additional 2 tablespoons. So I'm just gonna come in here. We got 1. I might actually just have enough to use just the cane sugar. We'll see. We might be a little bit, we might be a tad short. So yeah, let's see. I've currently got half a cup of the sugar in the bowl. And now I'm just gonna pour the remainder in here and see. It was like basically almost. So we're just gonna fill this up to make it 3/4 cups, and then we'll do an additional 2 tablespoons of sugar. Okay, and then on here it says that 1/4 cup of this is the equivalent to 1 large egg. So we're gonna do half of a cup in here to make it 2 large eggs. Okay, and now I'm just gonna stir this all up, whisk it all together until it is fully combined. Okay, and next to this mixture, we're gonna be adding olive oil, the Greek yogurt, we're gonna add orange zest and orange juice, as well as vanilla extract. Claudette wants to see what's up here, but it's not for you, baby. We're gonna do another special episode soon where we're gonna be making some special dog treats that Claudette can enjoy. All right, so next, for the Greek yogurt, we are also going to be doing 3/4 cups plus an additional 2 tablespoons of the Greek yogurt. Oh, I need to take this off. If you wanted to do like a dairy-free option, I'm sure you could probably use like a dairy-free coconut yogurt or like almond yogurts. I know that they do have like non-dairy Greek style yogurt, so I'm sure you could do something along those lines. And then we'll do 2 additional tablespoons. And the dogs are freaking out over this Greek yogurt. I'm gonna have to see if they're allowed to eat it, because if in that case, I might have to let them try a little bit. Okay, so now for one of my least favorite things, which is zesting fruit. And I probably hate it because I don't have an actual real good zester. But I'm just gonna come over. I'm gonna make sure to wash these off first, just in case there's anything that needs to be washed off of them. And then we will get to zesting. All right, now that this is starting to come together, I'm getting actually really excited to eat this. I'm just thinking about what it's gonna taste like later. And I'm gonna try to save some for my coworkers tomorrow, since we didn't get to have it today. But basically, I'm just gonna take this grater. If you have a zester at home, that's much better, but we're gonna zest the 2 full oranges. And I'm just gonna actually do it. So in order to zest, what I do is I do it on the other side, the back side. And I'm just gonna get as much zest as I possibly can and just do it directly into the bowl. I can smell the zest. I'm realizing now that I probably should have gotten like how you can get vanilla extract. You can also get orange extract. That probably would have been smart. But actually, there is some zest coming off. So certainly getting an arm workout this evening. Okay, so that's pretty much all the zest I think I'm going to get off of there. And so now we're gonna add the juices from both lemons. I actually just went back and read the recipe, and it looks like we're actually only gonna be adding the juice from 1 orange. So we will have another orange left over. So I learned this on Food Network back when I was actually a child. So you always kind of want to roll it out first, because that's going to make sure that you are releasing the juice. Oh my gosh. Summer is the perfect time for this recipe because oranges are in season. So we're going to do the juice. It says 1/3 cup. So I might as well just measure it. It says 1 orange, but honestly, I feel like these are so juicy that it might even be less than a full orange, because this is half an orange and it's almost at 1/3 cup. All right, 1/3 cup going on in. Wow, so my phone actually just went into the mixture, which is why I end up having to get a new phone once a year. Or maybe I should just get a tripod finally to prevent this from happening. I did have the case, but that went in there. Okay, so yeah, everything's in there. Oh, we gotta add the, we still have to add the olive oil and the vanilla extract. Okay, so for the olive oil, we are going to add 1/2 cup plus 2 extra tablespoons. So we're gonna do 1/2 cup. That's 1/2 cup. This is what's making it into an olive oil cake. And then 2 extra tablespoons. And then we're gonna do 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. I'm hoping that the phone doesn't fall this time. But we're gonna do now 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Then we're gonna mix all of the wet ingredients together, and then we will add the wet ingredients to Claudette. That's not nice. We will add the wet ingredients to the dry ingredients, mix it all together, throw it in the oven and bake it, which is why I love baking, because while you do need to be more precise with the measurements, it's usually pretty straightforward. Oh my goodness, listen. This dog is out of control. I'm sorry. We are still working on some training. But yeah, while cooking, you don't have to be as precise with the measurements. I love baking because you kind of just throw it all together, throw it in the oven, and it always usually comes out delicious. And while it's baking, we will work on the whipped cream for it. All right, Claudette is in timeout in the other room now. Jacques is my helper. He's a little bit more experienced on camera, aren't you, monsieur? He's eagerly awaiting the final product. So we're gonna mix this together and then we're gonna add it to the dry ingredients. Okay, so now we are going to take the wet ingredients. I wish you guys could smell this because it smells so good. It smells like so fresh and just amazing. We're gonna add it in. We're not gonna use a whisk anymore. We're actually gonna use a spatula this time. If all you have is a whisk though, like, feel free to use that. We're gonna add it in, and then the directions say, and as well as my mom did, like, remind me as well. She told me to make sure you don't want to over mix when you're mixing this in. It is going to be a little lumpy, the black batter, and that's going to just make it taste super duper delicious. Okay, so we're just mixing this together, and then I'll show you guys the finished product before I pour it in. Okay, so I believe this is the consistency that we're looking for. Okay, maybe not, because you don't want to see these flour specks, that's for sure. So I do have a little bit more mixing. So you're going to make sure, like, lumps are okay, but when you're stirring, you don't want to see any white flour specks. So I'm just going to do it a little bit more, and then we're going to dump it in. Okay, last time I had my phone in this spot, it fell behind the stove. So hopefully that doesn't happen again. But we're going to go ahead and dump this batter into the pan that I already oiled and put the parchment paper. And just remember when you're doing it, lumpy, yes. White flecks, no. So I'm just dumping this all in. Honestly, I think that this pan that I'm using is gonna be the perfect size. I would love to eat this batter right now, but I'm currently for work doing like a food handler's training so I can get my certificate, because I'm going to need that for work. And the things that you learn kind of freak me out, so I'm staying away from the raw eggs for now. But normally I think it's like kind of fine, but at least until after I get my test, no raw eggs. Okay, so that's almost all in there. And I'll show you guys what it looks like before we pop it in the oven. Oh, I saved it. All right, this is what it looks like. I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna put it in the oven for it says 40 to 45 minutes. Now my oven is not always the most reliable with times, so I'm hoping that that is all it needs. So I'm gonna set the timer, but we can always add on a little extra time if need be. And then in the meantime, we're gonna do a little cleanup and get to making our whipped cream. Just a side note, this hand soap is the best smelling hand soap. It is made in France. It's called À la Maison de Provence, fresh sea salt with olive and argan oils. And it is liquid soap from France for hand and body. It smells amazing. And this is not sponsored. I just want you all to know because it smells so good. It's ready. Ready. All right, let's check it out, guys. It smells so good. Okay, guys, wow. This was actually the perfect amount of batter to put in this size pan. I'm just gonna do quickly the test. I'm just gonna stick like a knife in there. Me? Yeah. I think it might need some more time. Yeah, see, my oven never is the right time. So I'm actually gonna put it up to 400 degrees and then put it in for another 10 minutes and then we'll check on it again then. But in the meantime, we can start making the whipped cream. Okay guys, so, sorry, this is kind of a weird angle. Hold on. Okay, so this is half a tablespoon. So we're gonna put 3 of those in here. And then we're gonna blend it at high speed for like 2 to 3 minutes. And hopefully we'll have whipped cream. Consistency that we're working with right now. Not quite. It's becoming like a whipped cream. So I'm gonna give it maybe 1 more minute and hopefully it will be good. So obviously if you have the hand mixer at home, that's probably your best bet. The lights just started flickering in here. Okay, so this isn't what happens when we do it at work. I don't really know what's going on. If the whipped cream doesn't work out, we're just not gonna have whipped cream. But I think I'm just gonna end up putting this in the fridge now for like 20 minutes while the cake cools because I'm about to take it out of the oven again. Also, the lights started flickering when I was doing that. And when I opened this, it was like steaming. So I don't even know, I'm not sure if that's quite what we're wanting. But we'll stay tuned with that. I'm taking the cake out again. All right, back up, on it. It's too hot. Back up. Ooh, hot, hot, hot. All righty. We're gonna do the knife test again. Take my handy dandy knife. We're gonna stick it in. It still has a little bit, but honestly, I don't want it to like overcook on the top. So let me stick it in another. It's pretty crummy. I think while it's cooling, it's still gonna be baking. So I think it's just gonna be just perfect. So while the cake is cooling, I'm gonna take our whipped cream. I'm just gonna put a lid on and then I'm gonna stick it in the fridge. I'm gonna let the cake cool for 20 minutes before taking it out of the pan anyway. So we'll check back in on the whipped cream. I did realize afterward that the recipe also said that like you can put the whipped cream on top and then do some like chocolate shavings, which I didn't see that part on the recipe. So we're not gonna have the chocolate shavings either. But honestly, the cake should just be fine to eat by itself even without the whipped cream if that doesn't work out. So we're gonna come back in 20 minutes and we'll see how it tastes. Also, it might just be because it's a NutriBullet that it didn't work out. I'm gonna have to Google, like, can you make whipped cream in a NutriBullet? Maybe next time I'll try a food processor instead. Because at work we use like a high-speed blender, so that might be the thing. But anyway, with cooking, baking, it's always trial and error. I just like, if this doesn't work out, I'm like, I don't even care enough about the whipped cream. I'm just excited to eat this cake. All right, guys, so while the cake is cooling, this is when we're gonna have our little powwow conversation. So what I was just thinking about is that, you know, like I mentioned before, it's been 5 months since I posted this last episode of Gaga's Kitchen, and I've really been missing it. Things like life has just been a little hectic, and I just like had been putting it at the bottom of my to-do list of things that I needed to be doing. Like I still have been cooking in the kitchen, but sometimes it's just like I don't feel like taking the camera out, and then like it takes longer to make everything, obviously. But the thing is that every time I film an episode, I feel so much joy afterward because it feels good for me to like be on camera and then you know, have this adventure and then share it with others. And then, you know, it's like a community. I love it. So I was thinking though, like during that 5 months, part of me was thinking like, okay, is this over? Like, you know, this is a pretty long time to go without filming an episode. But then I remembered like years ago, I probably went 1 or 2 years without filming an episode, and then I came back and did it again. And it's just that like sometimes it's okay to take breaks from things, but if something brings you joy, if something is a passion of yours, you know, don't give up on it. So whatever it is that you're working on, like if you picked up learning the guitar years ago and then you haven't touched your guitar in 5 years, me, it's okay to pick that back up if it brings you joy. You know, it's not like things don't have to be such an all or nothing. But now that I am back in the kitchen and I'm here on camera filming an episode, it just feels so good. And so I'm feeling inspired, and I would love to hear what you guys want to see me make next, because I'm going to try to just incorporate this into my life a little bit more, and also maybe like batch some episodes. So if I'm going through a couple months when I don't feel like filming an episode, I'll still have those episodes made, because I love it. So anyway, that was just my thought. Whatever your passions are, you know, it's okay to take a break from them and then come back. You're not a quitter just because it's been a minute. I didn't quit Gaga's kitchen. I'm back. So we're just waiting for the cake to cool, and then I am going to taste it for you guys and let you know what I think. All right, guys, the cake has been cooling for about 20 minutes. And now it's still a little hot, but I'm gonna go ahead and just transfer it to the plate now. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the cake, and it should be pretty easy because, let me see if this is, yeah, this is still kind of hot. So just be careful when you're doing this. But basically you just take this, that makes it so easy because we oiled it and put the parchment paper. And now I'm just gonna take the parchment paper off. But then, do I flip it over? Maybe I'll flip it over. Wow, that's like a whole loaf. Okay, oh, do you see the steam coming off of it? Wow. Okay, and then maybe, ooh, this little piece just fell off the side. I'm just gonna go in for it. That is good. Okay, now to get it flipped back over, I'm just gonna do this. All right, now that's an olive oil cake. Look at that. Let's go check on the whipped cream. I'm not feeling too confident about it, to be honest. The fact that it's still doing that. And now I can't even get it open because I have olive oil. Either way, this isn't gonna work. So we're just gonna try it as is. I guess what it comes down to is that sometimes you do just need to follow the directions, or you could just buy like a pre-made whipped cream already, which I probably should have just done that, but we're gonna try it. Okay, so I'm just gonna have this knife here. I'm actually just gonna cut it in half because I think I'm gonna take half of it to work with me tomorrow. And then I'm just gonna I want like a middle piece. Wow, it's still hot. Okay, wow, this looks really good. Look at that. It is steamy still. It's probably gonna taste even better once it's like fully cooled. So let me just put that there. We're gonna go sit down and try this. Okay, so you could totally do this with the whipped cream and the chocolate shavings on top also. It's like pretty hot. It smells, you can smell the lemon zest. Also, I'm gonna go back and say I probably should have just taken it. I haven't even tried it yet, but except for that little bite. I'm gonna say I probably could have taken it just out of the oven after 45 minutes and not brought up the temperature to 400 and baked it another 10, because I feel like that kind of probably dried it out a little bit. But listen, this is my first episode back in a while, so we're, you know, trial and error, and I'm definitely going to be making this recipe again, so I know next time it'll be even better. But let's go. I spoke too soon. This is moist. I know a lot of people don't like that word, but it's the only way to describe a good cake. And oh my gosh, with the whipped cream, I'm probably gonna buy some whipped cream tomorrow just so because I'm to use for leftovers. This is delicious. Wow, thanks Mom for the recipe. See, I always doubt myself, and then I try it and I'm like, oh wow, that's actually good. This is a great breakfast cake. And you can really, I didn't even get the full amount of orange zest because I didn't have the right zester, but even still with the amount that I used, this is amazing. With that being said, thank you so much for watching this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you are not already subscribed, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. That way you'll get notifications whenever we come out with a new video. And as always, I would love for you guys to leave in the comments what you thought of this video, and then also any suggestions for future videos, because I'm always looking for inspiration or ideas of things to make. And yeah, also like the video. Feel free to share it with your friends, and in the comments below or in the description, I'm going to post the recipe for this so that you can make it yourself. And we always love to see you if you make it. So go ahead and follow Gaga's Kitchen Instagram. It's Gagas_kitchen_92. And you can always tag us if you decide to make any of our recipes. Tag us, and we'd love to see it. So as always, have a good night, guys. How excited are you to try the orange olive oil pound cake?
Very excited. I can't wait to try it.
They think they're gonna get some too.
A little bit of orange.
You just ate that in 2 bites?
Both.